Hi, welcome to this video, which is an introduction to our intro course in programming. So I'm going to go through now what the course contents are, and then talk a little bit about why you might want to take the course and what programming is. So first, let's jump into this overview that we have here. This is the first part. There are actually two parts in this. So these are the different modules of the course, and we see get started here. So that's just talking about what programming is and why it might be a good idea to learn programming. And then we have variables. So first, a very quick overview on our workspace, and then the different data types here: integer, string, float, and boolean. And then we go into more depth here with string exercise. So strings are text. It's text elements basically. So we have some operations we can do with strings and text. Then we have integers, like the numbers 0, 1, 2, whole numbers. Could also be -1, -2, etc. And there we're using a calculator for that exercise, and we do some typical operations, subtraction, multiplication, etc. Then we come to floats. So with floats we have things like 3.5 or -1.1. So again, we go to the calculator, look at subtraction, multiplication, and different operations with floats. And then we come to booleans. Booleans are your true, false data types. So whenever a question can be answered with yes, no, then we can use booleans. And we're looking at some different operations there: not, and, or, etc. Then we go to control flow. So different ways to steer or control the programming flow. We have if statements, basically checking if A, then do this, if B, then do this. So we're going to look at different operations we can do with if statements. And then we have loops. So when you want to do something over and over again, we typically use loops. And that we go into here. And continuing on, we have more data types here that are very useful. We have lists or sequences of the other data types that, like strings and ints, could go into a list. So how to operate with lists, we go into here. Then we have dictionaries. That's a real favorite. So that's when you have a key value pair, key value type data type, like for example a dictionary, when you do a lookup on a word and then you find a longer explanation. And there we have some operations with dictionaries. Then we have functions. So that's when you define a block of programming that can do a certain thing. It takes a certain input, gives a certain output, or does something very well defined. Then it's very useful to put a name on a function or a block of code. And that's what we call functions. Then we have classes. So classes is when you have something like a car or a wheel and you want to model that using code. Classes is very useful, what we also call object-oriented programming. So there we have some exercises on that. And that concludes the course. So after that, we give away a little certificate of completion at the end here. So that's what the intro course is about. And we cover all typical programming languages. Like we see here, there are some high-level programming types and some low-level programming types. And you can even argue that for nowadays, we would even say that C or maybe C++ is more low-level. But they're defined here as being high-level. And you can take the course in any language. I mean, I like Python, for example. So that's kind of a very easy language to get into. So that's a good tip, to take the course in Python. Some other big languages, C# we maybe associate with then Microsoft, and can be web applications, can be Windows applications, cloud applications, many things, of course. Java, that's more cross-platform, not associated with one OS, but you can run it in Linux or in Windows or Mac or whatever. More low level could be C++ or C, and also C. So those are very quick and maybe more low footprint languages. Can be used for things like game programming or embedded programming, things that run on a chip. Then we have some other that I mentioned there. Go is popular. JavaScript, of course, for the web that you can run on the client. So that's a very nice language to know also. Maybe less elegant according to some developers, but very, very useful. And many web applications run it both front end and back end, so you can go with just one language. So that's nice. TypeScript is mentioned in the image. That's a more refined maybe version of JavaScript where you have more solid typing and things like that. And there are others. Ruby is one, for example. Yeah, there are many. Yeah, why do programming then? Well, we can look at the course. So here is one example where we do something which is at least programming like. So if I press interact here, the idea is that I have to press these buttons manually to go with the robot Skilly all the way over to Ada standing over here. So I'm pressing northeast, southeast buttons until I eventually get there. So this was maybe not that many repetitions, but still the idea here is that when we continue to the next step, this is how the course is built. You read different parts of it, and then there are these interactive segments. So here we're trying to do the same thing that I just did with repetition or looping. So I set it up to go first northeast and then southeast, and then just repeating it until I reach Ada. So now I press run. So this is supposed to show how it's much easier to run a program than to do something manually. Then, of course, programming is everywhere nowadays. We have it in our smartphones, in our laptops, computers, behind the scenes, in almost everything that happens nowadays when it comes to industry or companies or your personal space also. It would run in a fridge nowadays, or we have AI, of course, taking over more and more things, and exceedingly we can just talk to the computer like Alexa or Siri or so, and it will respond and do clever things for us, or just play music. So I mean, programming is everywhere, and why not be a part of that yourself? So that's an intro to our intro course on programming. So yeah, good luck in taking it.